It's my last facilitation ever. Okay.
For seniors, last facilitation ever, yes.
Okay, ready? DT on 3. 1, 2, 3. DT! Let's go, have fun!
Diversity Trainers are a high school organization where the members, high school students, lead sensitivity sessions for middle school students in our district's middle school. And we have 900 students at Strathaven Middle School, and we get to connect with every one of those students. We lead sessions for 6th grade, for 7th grade, for 8th grade in the spring. At this point, we have 150 high school students who have led sensitivity sessions for the middle school just this past spring, as we do every spring.
Hi everyone, we're the diversity trainers for you today, and we can just go down.
I'm Emmanuel. You can call me Manny.
I'm Kate.
I'm Sophia and I'm in 12th grade.
I'm Connor, I'm a junior.
We're going to say our names and our grades and then our pronouns. So that means like what we prefer to be referred to as. So I'll start. I'm Helen, I'm in 9th grade and I prefer she, her, and hers.
And we have a group of 25 students who are leaders. The student leaders actually teach the other high schoolers the activities, and they lead discussions around the topics of interest.
Right now we're doing an activity that demonstrates different learning styles, such as logical, visual, auditory, and each group is assigned a different animal, and they have to create some sort of description that goes along with their learning style. So for example, the visual is drawing a picture on the board, and auditory is kind of doing a little radio presentation, and at the end it kind of demonstrates how different people have different learning styles, and you can find out which one is most effective for you and which is the best to learn from.
We have a card on our head, and if you have a low number, then that means people treat you badly, and if you have a high number, people treat you well, and you're supposed to guess what number you have based on how people treat you.
What do you think you are?
I think I'm a 10.
So the lower the number, the worse people treat you. The higher the number, the better people treat you.
Judging you on how popular you are and how many friends you have.
Good.
Emma?
People judging you based on your status.
Yes. So if you're like a king, quote unquote, then everyone treated you nicely, yeah. Perfect, I like that.
But why would we not treat them based on how the card was designed or how pretty it was? It was always the number or the letter on the card in which we treated that person. I think that just relates to us now in our everyday lives. So I thought that was interesting.
So one of my favorite experiences, a lot of my students were actually in this group and they were doing starting lineup, and it's just allowed me to see when they started mentioning these things, have you ever been bullied, have you ever felt this sort of way or that sort of way, just seeing my kids react to how far they walked or how many different things that they experienced that I had no idea about as a teacher. So just looking at them through that light, and even seeing one of the students that was leading the activity was one of my kids, and just seeing him, the way that they just interact with each other and talk with each other, there's so much respect for one another that I just think that it really goes throughout the hallways in our school, where kids are just very respectful of the different issues that students face on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, so right now we're doing an activity where you write down one negative on a piece of paper about yourself, and on the piece of paper no one will see what you write, so just write it and try to be honest with yourself.
Get rid of our negative thoughts, okay? Can you do it? Go!
Okay, so walk up to it, don't throw it.
I would have to say some of the activities that I really enjoy are the ones where the students are working together to solve a problem. Any of those activities that I see them
working on?
All of our activities are metaphors, but this one is specifically for people who are disabled. So sometimes that's a very negative word to use. So this is Miss Paris's favorite way of writing it. Okay, so we're gonna focus on the positive, but it is supposed to simulate someone who is disabled, who has a harder time doing things that other people find very easy.
Say some things about the apple. Like, what does the apple look like to you? Like some observations, like we were just kind of doing. Red. Round. Shiny. New. Small. Seems like it'd be soft on the inside.
It wanted to go out to hang out with some friends. Turns out the friends had changed the plans because they don't really want to hang out with it, or whatever their reasons are. And
What do you think would happen if I drop the apple?
Now you killed Jerry! You just killed Jerry!
Do you see any bruises on it? How does it look from the outside?
Looks fine.
Looks alright, right?
But what about
What if I drop it again?
Oh, no. Oh, Jerry, no!
Jerry. How about it, Mike? How does it look? How does Jerry look?
Jerry looks fine.
He looks fine.
Nothing's wrong with Jerry.
Right? You think it hurt? Let's do it again. Oh.
it looks the same color, same skin. Everyone agrees? Okay.
Usually, I guess how this activity is run, and something I thought Ned did was interesting is he totally incorporated the story into dropping the apple. Sometimes the facilitators will just ask what they deserve, things to happen to the apple, and then out of nowhere they'll just throw it down, and the children all scream, and it's emotional. So you can do that too.
When we open Jerry up, we can see some bruises on him, but what we can also see is what does it look like right there, Michael? There you go. The star. On the inside of Jerry was a beautiful star, and we didn't even know it. Nobody said that when we were saying characteristics about him, right? Everyone just said, oh, he's red, he's round and shiny, speckled maybe, but no one said on the inside there's a star, because there's a star on the inside of all of us. See how it all comes back together? And when you say mean things about people, you may not physically harm them, and they may look fine from the outside, but on the inside, you are hurting them, you're bruising them, and it's something that you may never know, because they may never show it. But deep down inside, you may have really hurt their feelings, and so that's something to think about every day when you're talking to people, and just think of what you're saying and how you're saying it, and make sure that you're not kind of bruising them on the inside, not saying things that will eat away at them later.
Okay, this is an iceberg. And I want you guys to say some things that you can tell about a person from the outside, by looking at them. What do you tell them?
Eye color, that's something you can see. So true.
Hair color.
Hair color, that's true.
Appearances.
Appearances, that's true.
Now, what are some characteristics that you can find out about someone if you talk to them, not just by looking a ton?
Personal interest.
Whether they've been bullied or not.
Excellent. Ben?
For the bottom, home life.
Huh?
Home life.
Sure. Yeah, Helen?
Okay, so, what are some differences that you guys see, between, the top of the iceberg and the bottom? Size or what's inside it, or anything? Michael?
Is there more inside?
Yeah, only a third of the iceberg is above the water, because there's only a little bit that you can tell about someone from the outside.
The point of the activity is just to be able to see that the stuff that you see on the top, the tip of the iceberg, isn't always what's true, because the main part of the iceberg is below the surface.
There are more things that you can't tell about a person by looking at them. You have to get to know them than there are just by seeing their appearance.
That's kind of what you have to stress to the middle schoolers, is that like you shouldn't judge someone just by looking at them, because based on someone's appearance you might not be able to tell anything about them, or you might get the wrong impression from like the way that they like dress and stuff.
Yeah, I think diversity training is a fantastic program. I think it's important. I think there are many values to it. One, it helps the kids, exposes the kids to sort of accepting people with differences. I think the fact that they're hearing from high school students has a much greater impact for them than hearing from their teachers, or it sort of supports what their guidance counselor has been trying to tell them, what their teachers are trying to tell them. I think it just carries more weight when it's high school students as well.
I like going to the middle school and teaching the kids about acceptance and confidentiality and respect and all these things. I just really like to do that stuff, and it fills a part of me, in my heart.
First one, step to the middle of the room if you feel like you're a jock, or if you identify as a jock. If you like play sports and you really like them, enjoy being athletic and running, other things. Step forward if you think you're a nerd. Or geek in any way. Nerd, geek, whatever. It can be in like anything. It could be a nerd in sports, a nerd in gaming, a nerd in school. A nerd doesn't necessarily mean like the whole movie definition. More like a nerd as in you like to do what you like to do, and
Like
that
you don't really care what anyone else says.
Exactly, because it's like what you want to do. You like it. So, is there anything that you learned from the activity, or anything you learned about other people, anything you learned about the stereotypes I called out that you may have not thought about it before?
Sort of got to know each other better, just like kind of knowing, just not like personal, but like kind of who we want to be and who we are.
Love it, yeah, that's definitely true. And one of the biggest things with that activity is like, a lot of times we kind of ascribe labels to people and assume things about them based on that. So like if you step forward for a jock, like people might assume that you're stupid, or that maybe you only play sports and don't think about anything else. And we can see like through this activity that not all of that is true, and that you can be a lot of different things. A lot of people step forward for almost everything. So you have to understand that like people who do one thing might not be exactly how you assume they might.
I'm always impressed too when I see our trainers in action working as teams, because obviously there's been a lot of great training experiences. The seniors provide great leadership to the underclassmen on how to do this well. And having dropped in on so many of these different lessons, in particular in the middle school, and watched the 6th and 7th and 8th graders interact with the trainers, it's just very positive. The kids look up to our diversity trainers, and it really helps to instill the right kind of values in our kids. If we were trying to do that, just faculty working directly with the kids, it wouldn't have nearly the same impact that these kinds of lessons coming from the student themselves to other students has. So it's a really unique program here. It's a fabulous program. Sherry Paris does an amazing job of just supporting the program and providing the right kind of leadership, and we're enormously proud of it.
So who wants to go first? Yes, Ari.
Responsibility.
Responsibility, I love it. And what does that have to do with respect?
Well, it's your job to treat other people with respect, or use the golden rule.
Yay, I love it. Good job. Who's next? Yes, Sunny? Patience. Patience. And what does that have to do with respect?
You can be patient with whoever's talking or
Good. Yeah?
Sympathy.
Sympathy. And what's its partner?
Empathy.
Yay. And what's the difference, and what do they mean?
So sympathy is when you can relate to someone because you've experienced it, and then empathy is like when
empathy is when you relate with someone, and because you've experienced it. But sympathy is when you can like console someone, even if you haven't experienced that.
Good job. Did everyone hear that? Alright, good. What is next? Let's hit an E. Oh wait, yeah, another E. Go ahead, Amari.
Equality?
Equality, yeah, I love it. My favorite word has still yet to be thrown up on the board. Yeah?
Consent or confidentiality?
What'd you say before confidentiality?
Consent.
Oh, consent, good. And confidentiality is my favorite word, by the way. Okay. Glad you're also enthusiastic. But when the class is kind of quiet when you're facilitating, this is fine, like we're still kind of getting warmed up, then you can make them all get up, stand in the center, and then we'll do an icebreaker, which we'll do right now. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Louder. 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. All right.
Since we kind of started from like the very beginning, so I learned a lot about how to work with people, because for you guys it's established, but when we started it was a struggle. It wasn't accepted to get students to leave for classes. We got a lot of resistance from teachers. So I learned a lot of how, not necessarily to sweet talk, but how to work with people a certain way to get what needed to be done. And since this program has been around for so long, it's kind of an accepted idea, this idea of learning what tolerance is. But when we first started, there was a lot of resistance from the community itself too, because you guys have now gotten in this been brought up with this mindset, oh, you should understand what tolerance is because you know from a young age. But working with high school kids who, when you're younger especially, to say what tolerance is before this concept even started was really difficult.
So we have 150 active student participants in the diversity trainers this year, and we run one night meeting per month for 2 hours. We have busy and active students in the group, so we meet in the evenings because our after-school time is generally booked with music pursuits, drama, other clubs, academics, athletics, so many other activities. So we meet in the evenings, and we also have one conference day, that's on the Teacher in-Service Day in November, when generally 100 students come to school on their day off to learn and think about issues around diversity and sensitivity.
I always felt like it was very important to be a helping hand and somebody that, my peers and other people felt like they could trust.
Real quick before we run a fun role play activity, we're just going to go over a few more things that are on the agenda for 7th grade. One of those is concentric circles, and this is a really fun activity. How you're going to run this is you'll have your room full of people, and you'll assign them each a number 1 or 2. So go around the room, so they split up from their friends, and you'll ask all the ones to get in a circle in the middle of the room, a standing circle, facing like outwards towards the classroom. Then the 2s will make a circle around them, facing the people in the middle. So you'll have discussion questions with you, and you'll say, when I say go, talk about what you had for dinner tonight for 2 minutes. And they'll talk to that person in front of them, and then you say move 3 people to your left, or to your right, or 4 people, or 6 people, and you can make it up, and everyone kind of shifts around and talks to different people about different things. And it's a really fun, cool way for people in the classroom to get to meet each other and talk to each other about substantial topics, get a little better feel for who they're going to school with. It's a fun one.
So if you have questions, not just about the activity itself, but what to do if a student says this, or if a student doesn't say anything, then feel free to ask.
Well, I'm taking a Peace and Justice Studies class right now, and we often say, Peace and Justice Studies or, dealing with diversity, it's not all about just holding hands and singing Kumbaya. And I think I realized that, diversity trainers was, a nice place to, like a safe place to discuss diversity, but there were also conflicts that arose in the group, and being able to learn how to mediate those in a controlled environment helped me to apply that outside as well. And I think that, you know, we develop beliefs and learn to communicate naturally, kind of without thinking about it, without much focus, but then to go ahead and address and examine those beliefs, it takes a conscious effort. So to have those skills from being in the diversity trainers, it's really helpful to apply that to, you know, bigger political issues and whatnot outside.
Micro in this case really means like a subtlety almost.
Who recognizes the word micro?
Small.
Small. Good. Who recognizes the word aggression?
And aggression. What does aggression mean? Anything else?
Hostility.
Hostility, insults. So a microaggression is really simply something that's subtly offensive and subtly aggressive, subtly angry. It's usually internalized, like an internalized perception of someone, like we're talking about perspectives. So does that kind of clear it up a little bit?
So a microaggression is a word we use to describe something that isn't perceived as huge, like punching someone. You know, that's just aggressive. A microaggression is maybe calling someone a name behind their back, some offensive stereotype, being mean to someone in a subtle way. But as you're going to find out, it's not so micro after all. Microaggressions, even though they're small, can hurt just as much.
So our in-service day conference is really exciting, and another way that I know the program is fantastic is because I have alumni coming to facilitate sessions, former administrators, former guidance counselor, former teacher, sometimes professional facilitators, and our student leaders lead sessions.
One of the things we aren't able to actualize our authentic self is because we're embarrassed. Fear is a major contributor to almost everything you don't do. Because you don't want to you don't want to stand out. You don't want to like have somebody laugh at you. Maybe you've had people laugh at you. You don't want to wear clothes that are. I mean, it's really trash. It's really terrible that there's so much. And so what I like to do in these workshops, I know we're talking about diversity, but I don't think you can get the diversity and acceptance until you accept yourself, until you understand your diverse talent, your diverse person. Eat, Billy, Oaten, Toten, Bobo, Badeetin. And then we do 6 shushes to your vista. But here's what I want you to do. I'm going to say go, and I want everybody to come into the center of this, pick out somebody very quickly, and just answer this simple question. What is something that a characteristic you admire in other people?
I like fun people. I like creative people.
Sandra! Hi! Hi, hello. Hi, Sandra. What do you admire in people? I like open-mindedness. I like people who are really confident.
Respect. Honesty. A good listener.
1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, now there's a little song that goes with it, which is, oh, waddle-yacha, doodly-doo, doodly-doo. Ready? Oh, waddle-yacha, doodly-doo. Waddle-yacha, doodly-doo, doodly-doo. Waddle-yacha, doodly-doo, doodly-doo. It's a simplest song, there isn't much to it. All you have to do is doodly-doo.
So we just did an activity where we shut off all the lights and everything was completely dark, and we were asked to dance, just like express ourselves through dance. And like for a minute or so, I just wasn't sure what to do because I was afraid of people seeing like how I was gonna dance or how I was gonna express myself. But like I just realized like how I'm not independent, and the way the way other people see me is the way that like it really reflects like how I act and how I want to be seen. And like this happens with teenagers all the time. Like they always need to like want to fit in high school, and sometimes you just like you can't be yourself in this way. So really like society and like the way other people see you, it like scares you, and you're not sure how you should like you're not sure if you can express yourself, or just like if you can really just be you without other people like just getting in your way, sort of.
Remember when we were talking about someone who is like was born, say example female, and then transitions to man? We would call this person a trans man. Or if he calls himself a trans man, okay, and you honor that person's transition, and like say he uses he pronouns, goes by Mr. Oh. Yeah, right, and vice versa. However, someone who is trans or has transition can still make decisions as to being like gender queer, right, or like using they pronouns. It doesn't always match up, right? Yeah.
This is the gender binary. It's the fact that you have to check an M or an F on all your medical forms ever. It's that there's only two, binary. So non-binary people are people who don't fit into the M or the F category. I have some non-binary labels on the board. These are the ones that it's acceptable for anyone to identify. And that's agender, like not having a gender. Bigender being both genders, like, or two genders, so being both a man and a woman at the same time, at different times, or being both a woman and not a woman, like sometimes being a woman, sometimes being not a woman, but not a man. And that idea as a gender. And trigender would be like man, woman, and another gender. And then gender fluid is constantly moving around, like being like one gender at a time, two genders at a time, but like not having one set fixed gender identity. Pangender is just like all the gender identities at once, maybe not at once, but it's all inclusive of them. And then demi-boy and demi-girl is like, I feel that I'm kind of a boy, but I'm also kind of not a boy.
Yeah, and I wanna make clear to everybody that is oftentimes we're always struggling to find, like desperately, what's the right way to do this, right? How do I do it so I can't offend anybody? What's the formula? There is no formula. There is no one uniform way to like figure out every person's this, and that, so you can have them figured out. Because some of these things you can't see. You can't find out unless you get to know that person.
To be honest about our assumptions, about the assumptions that we make, the generalizations that we make, the biases and prejudices that we have, in order for us to challenge them.
My name is Dr. Yannicka. I'm the principal at the high school, and I have been involved as leader of the high school with diversity trainers for 11 years. And for me, there are many benefits to having a diversity trainers program here at the high school. The first is in the fall when students sign up, it provides an opportunity for students who have an interest in learning more about other cultures and about other families. And through the training that is conducted in the fall for high school students, they really get that opportunity to gain a greater sense of understanding and awareness of persons different from themselves.
I feel like diversity trainers is really like the embodiment of like the mentality that makes Strathaven excellence possible. It's like a cornerstone of Strathaven excellence. Because like one of the big things about Strathaven that I've noticed is like how tolerant we are of like all the clubs and everyone's different tastes. I feel like because everyone's in diversity trainers, everyone is kind of tolerant of everyone. We're accepting, we're tolerant, and like it really breeds this philosophy of acceptance. And like I think that is one of the most useful things you can have in life.
I don't feel like the point of the group is to make everybody like, happy-go-lucky. The point is to, I'm going to say it again, is to expand our horizons, expand our minds, and really understand other people's views. And it's totally okay to have completely opposing views.
The group is part of the school culture and integral to a positive school culture. we promote self-awareness and tolerance and understanding of others.
So I think like we sometimes think we have predictive views of people when really we don't, and like so we're excluding this person, but really like they really like could just be like a really like vulnerable person who just like wants someone to like give them attention, but like we push them away because we think they're like different than who they really are.
Yeah, and it's about our assumptions about that person, and it's like have you ever heard this phrase like we fear what we don't know?
The adults would like protect the bullies almost. Like they would just like push it aside and be like, oh, boys are bullies, you know, they'll grow out of it, it's okay. But I mean, it's really like a seriously dangerous thing, something that's really harming someone, and they're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Which I think is something really serious
Yeah.
to talk about.
A lot of focus on physical bullying, and especially if you haven't come into contact with a lot. Physical bullying is very easy to pick out because you can say like, oh, that person physically has a scar, so therefore they must have gotten physically injured from this other person.
Victoria, Hannah, and Simone, and we're enjoying a fireside chat at the fire this afternoon. Welcome.
Okay. I initially joined just because some of my friends were in the group and I just wanted to know what it was about. And then I stuck with the group because all of the values that they established and all of the issues that we addressed really resonated with me.
Yeah, I was attracted to the Diversity Trainers group because I saw a lot of the great things that they were doing, and I remember when I was in middle school, the group that came and talked to us, actually my cousin was in that group, so it was really funny to see that. And yeah, it was just really awesome to kind of, it created a good network between the middle schoolers and high schoolers, so you can kind of like see the friendly faces before you actually got here as a middle schooler, and then just being part of the group was really fun.
So when I was in high school, it was really nice to have a support system. Even if they weren't all my best friends, I knew that I had this huge group, especially like the later years in high school when I was a leader and it was an even smaller group of like a support system to have, and of people who were like-minded like you and who you knew were respectful of anything, and they'd listen to whatever you had to say, and there was no judgment ever.
Yeah, I think that the diversity trainers really helped me to exercise a different part of my brain. You know, outside of like math class or off the track, I had a place to really discover like who I was, who my like emotional identity was, and what kind of person I wanted to be and how I wanted to like convey that to other people. So it was definitely yeah, a good place to have like structure, but also be able to express yourself.
So at Strath Haven, I began Diversity Trainers my sophomore year, and basically I began as just like the basic diversity trainer. I was trained by leaders and learned the activities to prepare myself to teach middle schoolers, but then by my junior year and in my senior year I became a leader, and that involved creating the activities and coming up with new ideas for the middle schoolers to benefit from new activities, so it was kind of something fresh and new each time we went to train them. And then also I had the responsibility of training new diversity trainers to prepare them for going over to the middle school and learning how to handle, you know, when a student maybe isn't as cooperative, or how to really like express the purpose of a certain activity and what you're supposed to get out of it.
Another thing I would like to suggest is pair and share. If people aren't comfortable or aren't ready to raise their hand in the whole group, you can pair them off. So turn to the person next to you and talk to them for 1 minute, and your partner is not allowed to speak. It's the one-on-one listening activity, then after a minute you switch. So pair and share is a great way because then everybody has to talk. So pair and you talk, and then you can share with the rest of the group.
Because I was so moved by the openness and maturity of our group, and they updated all of the activities they did this year. They did hands-on activities. They did a microaggression imaging activity where the kids really connected with that. They connected with the high school students a little more this year than they did in the past. Not that it was any, different with the relationship between the high school students and the middle school students, but pretty much the kids kind of saw themselves. They saw their peers, and it kind of opened up.
Hi, I'm George King, principal of the middle school.
And my name is Joe Buchler. I'm one of the assistant principals here at the middle school.
So Emma's asked us what's important about the Diversity Club. I'd have to say first and foremost that it really opens the door for so many of our students to become such positive role models. When I think back of the 3 years that the students are in middle school and they participate in all the Diversity Club activities, they cannot wait to get to the high school to then become one of the trainers. So I think that's such a great aspect when I see the kids come back and in turn train our kids.
Very much so. I've been lucky enough to see it as both an administrator and as a teacher for many years. And for so many years with the 8th graders, they're just so hungry to get to the high school. And they're just so into any high school kid coming over. So they're pretty much very willing to cooperate because they at 13, 14, you see the value of those lessons anyway.
It's been a core part of my experience in college, and it's really brought with me what I've learned in DT in high school, kind of just to consider alternate perspectives and to really care about these issues, not even just with social justice, but also with, gender and equality and just all of the categories that we study in DT, well not study, but focus on diversity trainers.
I've sort of started becoming more involved in social justice issues and feminism and LGBT activism and stuff like that, and so I'm getting involved with the LGBT society at my school and all these different things, and it's just it all started when I joined Diversity Trainers.
So, thank you for being the amazing leaders and teachers and brilliant spirits in this world. It's a gift to be with you here today. And I hope that you just remember all the joy and all the learning and all the fantastic greatness that we can achieve together and take that into, because you are the trainers, right? You're the ones who are going to go to the middle school. So just take this moment with you and remember it, because this is the best. This is the moment. This is the education and inspiration and action. So, put your hand on let's do right hand on your own heart, and left hand on the back of the person, if you don't mind, to your left. See if you can do it. Okay? Right hand on your heart, left hand on the back. Wow, guys.
This is the moment.
So whatever is special and important to you, do them out loud, but it's not for a joke, it's really serious. You can close your eyes if you want to, and I just want you to remember 3 things that are really fantastic about life and the world and school and this opportunity. So just take a moment. 3 breaths, please. 3 incredible thoughts. And 3 things that you want to take action on or achieve in your life. And feel your own support for yourself. And hand over the heart. And feel the person who's holding your back. Maybe you know them or maybe you don't. But this is the support that we have for each other. I have your back, and we have each other's backs.
The one word I would use to describe diversity trainers is useful. I mean, of course, I would use a ton of other words like fun. It's very enlightening. It's very, I use it actually every day. I think because it's so useful. Even I was talking to my mom last night, and she went on a workplace retreat, and a lot of the activities that they did reminded me of diversity trainers activities. So it's not just something that we use for middle schoolers. I think people can take it to a whole nother level.
I would say empowering.
good word. It's a really good word.
Borrow it.
I would say like expansive. It helps you expand your mindset. Yeah, just like that.
Also enlightening. The 3 E's.
Important.
Ooh. Essential. Diversity trainers is essential.